So, hey guys, today I'm going to say it loud and proud. Crystron Halqifibrax. This can definitely just get unbanned like any day now. And if you guys are just getting freaked out, I don't know why. Like every single Yu-Gi-Oh player that I've seen has like insane Halq trauma for some reason. But let's actually go over what Crystron Halqifibrax actually enables and does. So I think that the most disgusting thing Halq could do. Genuinely, I don't think like anyone realized what Halq actually is even used for at this point. They're just afraid of the card. But Halq, for the most part, the only thing really terrifying about this card, there are two specific combo lines, and that's it. And one of them, it's been killed. So, all right, if we start with like just I guess some kind of one card combo for Halq, we'll go with Sangan. So if we link up Sangan for Almirage, this allows us to trigger Sangan, which allows us to add Crusadia Arborea. And then this is an inherent summon, which you can do despite like Sangan effect, right? It says you cannot activate cards or the effects of cards with that name for the rest of this turn, but you can special summon still. And this is an inherent summon, so you can summon to the Almirage Zone, allowing you to go Tuner plus non-tuner monster, which is the summoning condition for Halq Met, so we can then go Halq from here. So the two lines from this point, if we just special summon Halq, we have just two options, in my opinion, really. We have either an Auroradon line, and then we have the other option, which is Scythe line, where we would go into like dagda from just the Halq. And to do the dagda line, we would just go effect of Halq to summon Jet Synchron. And then we can link off Jet Synchron for Link Rebo. And then we have the ability to special summon back Jet Synchron from the graveyard. So that allows us to go into the link to Dagda. And then next turn we can go Crystron Halqifibrax, effect, summon Wonder Magician. And then Wonder Magician can pop Scythe in the back row, which we are going to be able to trigger like this. Chainlink 1, Halq. Chainlink 2, Dagda. And then on res, this is actually a mandatory effect to pop, but whatever. Wonder Magician pops the Scythe that we set in the back row with a Dagda. Scythe special summons itself, and then we can Synchro Summon and make a Synchro 10. So in this case, it would probably be like typically a Baron de Fleur. And also, if you haven't noticed at this point, this combo already by itself, if you were to play it like this, 5 extra deck commitment. So if we consider just that, at least, that's not great. And then the second thing, well, even if you pulled this off, going second, what does this realistically accomplish when your opponent already has a fully, like, just stacked end board, just staring you down already? Do they even care about Scythe Lock at this point? They're really just, at worst, having to face off against a single Baron after all of this. And technically, this isn't fully a one-card combo because you have to discard for Jet, regardless of how you do this. And we technically cut Almirage and do this a few different ways, and put up Halq on the field with Dagda, right? A few different ways, but still 5 extra deck commitment. And if we were to assume we have a level 8 monster somewhere in our deck, and we are able to make Halq to make Baron with, we would still need at least a 3-card commitment. If we didn't have that, it would require even more commitment. So you would require like a Formula Synchron, for example. So at minimum, we're seeing maybe something like this, but the typical lines for if you summon like Halq, you're probably wanting to special summon some sort of tuner. Doesn't really matter what tuner in particular, but just for example, let's assume maybe we're playing, I don't know, it could be a number of things, but usually the target you might consider will be, I think, to make, it usually ends up being like Borreload Savage, and then the play is to usually summon Formula, like, I don't know how it ends up happening, but like every rogue deck, essentially, while Halq was legal, was doing this, where you somehow summon a Borreload Savage. Don't ask how, it's just on the field. You just come to terms with this. And then you would Halqifibrax summon Formula, and then you would synchro with the Borreload Savage and the Formula to then make a Baron, which is a 4-card extra deck commitment, which is like 1/3 of your extra. So even if we were doing this is kind of minimalistic, but you know, that's what it does. And then if we have Auroradon, these decks kind of also suck, just in general, like as of currently, in just now. But yeah, Halq into Auroradon is a thing, right? But you also have to consider, like, you know, you can just make Auroradon. You can just cut Halq completely out of the picture, and you still have a disgusting combo. And in fact, you know, you guys might have not remembered this, but you know, like, yeah, Galaxy Tomahawk is legal, right? And we can do this to go into Auroradon. And you know what about that deck? That deck sucks. It's like incredibly mid. Yeah. So what difference is it if we go from like Halq into Auroradon or like Tomahawk into Auroradon? If this isn't even ban worthy, then why should this be? Like, what's the difference between this and this? Just going into Auroradon. And then you have to consider, actually, so some people are saying like, but Halq is so generic. It's not literally, right? So I heard someone say like, oh, but if I special summon in Halq, then that's like Fiendsmith combo without like Lacrima or whatever. And then I'm like, yeah, and don't you have to like run a random like Garnet or Brick or whatever? So we have to go like Tuner. Let's see, Fiend. And then Light. So I have to run one of these terrible cards that I'll summon off of like Halq, I guess. Is there a single good one? Let's go through them. You can send one card from the hand to the graveyard. Special summon a Fabled from your hand. Nope. Send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target one tuner you control this turn. It cannot be destroyed by battle. When this card is normal, send all synchro monsters on the field. Special summon a Resonator monster from your deck. You can't special summon that. And would you look at that? You have nothing that you can summon that actually does anything. Alright. Then, you know, if we do summon a guy here, we can Fiendsmith combo. You know what? This doesn't really do anything for you, does it? You can make Fiendsmith combo, like, without Moon, right? Like, you could. It's not, like, that hard anyways. You can do the same thing with, like, Reproducus, basically, if you really cared, right? But it literally does not matter. Like, this is such a dumb way to go into Fiendsmith combo. Just go into Moon instead. Like, why bother with Halq and running the extra Garnets? That does nothing for you. I mean, you would technically do it, I guess, right? But it's like, is that even good? Yeah, come on. Alright. Continuing on, because that's like very worthless. Some people I've seen say, like, in my last Halq could be unbanned video, oh, but like, if Halq is legal, every deck would run Halq. You got room for this, buddy? Like, do you have the right levels for this as well to do like whatever this is? Do you? And then, is this even worth it? Because this just adds an insane choke point. Because Halq itself is actually like terrible if you consider it in like your combo. Because this is usually done, like Halq in general is done in an early point in the combo, where it essentially is the linchpin for the combo, or later where you already have full combo, so it doesn't really matter that much. So for example, if you were playing like DD Synchro, by the time you get to Halq, you're already like full combo in like DD Synchro. So, did Halq really matter there? No, I'd argue it's not very important here. And then after that, let's see. If we then tried to go like halqdon, now this is a massive choke point, and if you see this happening, like it is super easy to stop. You can actually even ignore the Halq and just like imperm the Auroradon, and then the combo just doesn't do anything anymore. Like, what's your opponent going to do with a Link 3 Auroradon? You already know their extra deck's committed to like all of the Auroradon cards, like all of the Auroradon Jank stuff, and like Colossus and stuff, like depending on exactly what you're playing with, like Cupid Pitch and stuff, right? So yeah, negate this. You're pretty solid. We can Ash the Halq. That works. We can Ghost Ogre the Halq. That works. Potentially we can also Bell, depending on what we're playing against here. All solid options. Yeah. Not much else needs to be said, I don't think. But like, Halqdon's actually just not even that good right now, I don't think. Whatever was being played before, it's just like kind of fallen off. It's just not going to really fare that well in the meta, even, I don't think. For example, in the Unlimited duel event or whatever, I don't think I saw Halq summoned a single time. And part of that might be because, you know, no one felt like crafting the UR. But the other part of this might be, I don't know, because Halq is kind of like just whatever. A lot more people were playing like Tier Limit or Flanders than people were playing like Halq. Yeah. Okay. Then, you know, why is this card still banned then? Well, the most degenerate thing that we had access to was essentially just dagda Scythe. And now that that's gone, I don't think there's a reason to keep Halq banned still, and that this could just come back. Because Halqdon is literally just... It's slightly better than making like Auroradon, I guess, because you can special summon like Despot 001. But like, okay, if you made like Auroradon either way, it's still probably better. Well, it's not better necessarily, it's just still like the same stuff. You're doing like the same stuff regardless. But what difference does Halq make here? It doesn't. And I did see some people also arguing like, oh, but Halq is so broken because you can link climb. Oh, and before we go into that, I forgot this one, but Halq ain't even really generic. It's 2 monsters including a tuner. Where did you pull a tuner from? So let's say, for example, we're playing Ryzeal. Okay, what tuner? What tuner do you have exactly? Let's go through this a little bit. Okay. This will be more recent, I guess, but we'll go with your, I guess. Yeah, and scroll down. So with Blue Eyes, we have tuners. Oh joy! But what are we going to do with Halq exactly? We're gonna go do what with this exactly? What are we linking off for Halq exactly? Sage can't be used really. I guess it would have to be like a Blue Eyes plus a Sage or a Maiden. You can't use Spirit because you're locked into dragons while Spirit is on the field, so you cannot summon Halq. So what now? That doesn't really help. I guess if you did manage to put out a Halq, you could go into a formula and then make like Baron. I guess. It's not like you had access to like an Omni Negate already. Like 2. Cough Cough, Drill Beam. Ultimate Spirit. And then we have, let's see. Oh, there's Malice. What synchros? Or what tuners? Like, what tuners actually do you have that would benefit off this, right? And then we have Centurion. Where? Why? Why would I make Halq in that? I would just make my actual regular Syncos. And I did see someone saying Sword Soul in that comment section, so I looked through it again recently, and bro, Sword Soul? Really? Oh no. We can't unban Halq because of Sword Soul. Normal summon Moyi, special summon the tuner token, and then we can just make Halq, except you can't. You're synchro locked. And also, that's not a one-card combo. Moyi has to reveal something. And then what would you even do after you make Halq anyways? You would go into like halqdon, despite playing a Sword Soul deck? Oh, okay, buddy. Sure. Like is that even ban worthy? Like, if someone really wanted to do that? Okay, I guess. Sure. And then continuing on. Any of these decks, can they drop a Halq? Branded? No. Anything? Manadium? I don't even know if they want to drop a Halq anywhere in this line. I feel like you can. I'm not sure if it's even optimal. But yeah, alright, I guess. And then we keep scrolling down. That you have no way to really drop Halq here. Memento, there's not like a single tuner unless you want like normal summon Ash Blossom Dress Spring. That ain't doing nothing, you know? You do have the levels to do some Halq plays though, that's something. And this locks you. Deansmith doesn't have access to like an easy tuner, and even if you did get a tuner out and then you went Halq, like Deansmith already requires so much extra deck that I think a deck that utilizes like Deansmith and Halq together, probably terrible. Zodia can't really use this either. The more we scroll down, the more we'll find decks that can't do anything with this. Like, do you guys think that Tenpai player is really going to summon Halq and that this will actually be useful for something? There's not a single like tuner for you to summon off of Halq for Tenpai. Like, what was this going to do for you? Legitimately nothing. And there was one argument of, oh, but you can use like Halq to link climb, so we'll get into that now. So technically the best thing you could summon, I guess, for the link climb, probably just Jet. And then you discard a card, and this makes access code. If you somehow put a monster and then a tuner on the field randomly in your deck, yeah, any deck surely, quote unquote, can just slap Halq and then go into access code, right? Smile. Oh, right. Do you remember how Sky Striker climbed into access code with Halq? Broken, insane. And also sometimes Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes probably more consistent, but alright. You have to hard open or somehow get Effect Veiler in your hand, and then you need to normal summon the Effect Veiler, and then you need another monster on the field with the Effect Veiler. And then you can go into Halq. Bruh. And then after this, you would go Halq plus, I guess, you know, Effect Veiler. And then you would go into Celine. And then you can Celine bring back the Effect Veiler, then go access code. Do you see the issue with this yet? Oh, how about the fact that, you know, you also need, after you meet the condition of having like a tuner and then a non-tuner, I guess. Or actually, you can technically use 2 tuners for this, but you know, after you get a tuner at least plus another monster, you need to summon Halq. Then you still need a target in deck, which sure, maybe you have another Effect Veiler in the deck, okay. And then you'd need to summon Celine, and then you need the condition for Celine to be met, where enough spells are going to be up in the graveyard for the most part, or on field. And then you special summon the Effect Veiler. Keeping in mind that this whole line also dies to a single point of interaction anywhere. Ghost Ogre on Halq. Ghost Ogre on Celine. Imperm on either of these. Broken, right? insane. I can't believe Halq has done this. Holy crap. And then you would make, I guess, like access code or something. Really now? And then I guess, oh, but you would also, no one's ever mentioned this because I guess no one cares, but you can technically turn Halq into an Apollos as well. Like tuner plus what, one monster, Halq special, jet link off, activate jet effect, and then we have bodies of Linkruba, jet, Halq. That's Apo for 3. You know what deck can do that way better? Or what like engine can do this way better? Beansmith. They can make like Apo for 3 or 4 and still do some stuff afterwards. So yeah, it also doesn't require you to discard a card from your hand. I mean, it kind of does with Cracked, but yeah, you know, that's besides the point. Your card advantage is still going to remain the same. You will have the ability to do this as a legit 1-card combo, and you do that without even a normal summon. Now, I'm pretty sure Halq, when you use it like this, will require a normal summon. So, yeah, that's great, isn't it? But what is Halq actually enabling that's so broken that it actually still deserves to be banned? And honestly, the sooner Halq gets unbanned, the sooner you can start using it again for whatever. And even if you want to argue like, oh, but you can use Halq for dumb FTKs, we have Assault Day legal, bro. We have Saryuja at 3. We have the Atlantis. Surely Crystron Halqifibrax will be the difference maker. Oh no, I can't believe because Halq is here. We have a bajillion different FTKs that are all definitely viable and not hand trappable or anything, right? Yeah. I'm sure that this is still a problem card now. And if it is a problem card, feel free to correct me if I missed something insanely broken with Halq, because aside from like exactly halqdon, which is completely terrible because there's no insulation here and no continuation for you to actually get into Auroradon, because whatever deck you're playing, like these aren't machines, right? Where will I pull a machine out of my ass from to summon Auroradon, right? So yeah, I summon Halq. Halq gets negated, let's say. And then I want to go into Rodon. How do I do that? All right, I'm going second. If I go second, if I get hand trapped a single time, I still can't go into combo. Assuming you can stop your opponent's plays with hand traps or whatever, you can't necessarily play either. And you know what? There's no follow-up after this. So let's assume I have maybe just this, okay? We have Moyi. Let's see. Is it like this? Nope. So annoying. Alright, Sword, Soul, Moyi. I normal summon Moyi. Reveal a wire. Sure. My opponent imperms me. Okay. And then I pass. I have no other plays. I set like imperm. Imperm on Halq. Okay. Now you have no plays for a halqdon deck, right? Now I will go Moyi, run over Halq. Halq, let's say it goes back to 1. Okay. Now what? Your entire extra deck is facilitated for exactly like halqdon, so you don't even have like a way into like over half of your extra deck anymore, because you only have like one main decked machine monster being like Jet Synchron. So it's like literally impossible for you to go into the Auroradon now. So you lost to essentially normal summon Moyi. And you know what? Let's assume you go first. But we'll flip it around. Okay. Activate Halq. I imperm Halq. I Ash Halq. Whatever. And then I normal summon Moyi. Run over Halq. Yeah. What? Yeah. Let's assume you have another way to stop this Moyi again. Yeah. Then what, right? Now what does your deck do? Absolutely nothing after I've run over Halq. And even if I don't run over Halq, what do you have to do? This doesn't convert into anything anymore, so kind of just insanely mid. And if you do get to full combo, I guess like it's like 1 negator 2 or something, plus maybe a Colossus, which is like kind of whatever, honestly. If you full combo and that's what you do, I guess sure. It's not like there's any sort of combo deck that does a lot more than that, you know? If only there was some kind of one-card starter that was just not hand-trappable, that just ends in full degenerate synchro combo. Man, if there was such a deck, that'd be broken, right? And totally ban-worthy, right? Oh, right, it's not Super Heavy Samurai, it's like completely legal. The only hit on Super Heavy Samurai is Soul Piercer to 1. And it's not really even being played. What makes Halq so special that it's actually this disgusting, right? So it's not even generic, right? If we go look at the Fiendsmith stuff, you have Moon, right? And then you can link off any 2 monsters for Moon and then actually go full combo, right? Or just go into Fiendsmith combo. Halq isn't even that accessible in comparison to this. Technically, there are FTKs that you can probably go into from just like special summoning Halq, but do you think that doesn't require garnets or anything? Like no bricks? Like, because it does. And also, if it's an FTK, it's terrible going second. So even if it were like decently consistent, if you drop some hand traps, you're probably fine. If you win the coin flip, you're also fine. That win rate is probably pretty below 30%. And you know, it didn't have to be Halq. You could have just done Isolde instead as well. And there's just so many starters that go into like Isolde, like 1-cards and such. So why do we care about this? Just bring back Halq, honestly. Like, but was this actually enable if this comes back? I'm not even sure necessarily if you would play Halq in like what deck was it again? Would you even play Halq in I guess Crystron right now? Like, I don't know if it even has a place necessarily, or if it's actually even that useful in Crystron. I would have to like do a little bit of research on those lines that may or may not involve Halq. But yeah, I don't even have high hopes for like Halq here. Because there might be like a machine lock, you could go into Auroradon technically still, but what were you going to do after being machine locked and having Auroradon out? I guess technically you should be able to make Auroradon already, but no one's doing it. Probably because it's terrible being machine locked and having Auroradon on the field, so no real high hopes for this and Crystron together, I don't think. So yeah, I mean, if this increases like the ceiling for a deck, it doesn't really matter because those decks usually tie to like one interruption somewhere. So did Halq really matter? Was Halq the difference maker, or the fact that you didn't open like an Ash Blossom Joe Spring? Or whatever the real starter was? Because Halq isn't, like, it could be the starter, but there was something else that you could have probably negated before Halq. So in the case of Sangan, it would be Sangan itself to prevent like the adding of Arborea. And then we would just pass on like an Almirage, which is terrible, right? For example, but we could also wait all the way for Halq because Halq doesn't really do that much by itself either. So yeah, Halq, in my opinion, could be unbanned any day now. And the only thing I think that justified the Halq ban was Halq Dagda being like technically a 1-card, very efficient Scythe lock that you could do in a variety of ways, I guess. But you know what? You could pass Scythe lock in a variety of ways even without Halq. So maybe in that context, like Scythe was the problem card here in relation to all of that stuff. And then yeah, the rest of the stuff that Halq does, I don't think is that problematic anymore. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.